I wanted to record this video. I was reading Richard Bilbrook, The 4-Year Career, and for everyone that is in network marketing, this is highly recommended. It's just a great reminder of how incredible this industry is for every single person that is serious about building assets. Because the difference between a wealthy person and a person that is not wealthy is what is known as leverage, financial leverage. In other words, the separation line is the people that have leverage have everything. The people that don't have leverage, they have nothing. And when I say they have everything, I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about they have their time. They have their finances sorted out. Like they don't need to work for money. Their money are working for them. They have assets that are producing the cash flow for them 24/7, even when they're not working. They have the ability to choose their vocation, where they want to be located, from where they want to work. They have the ability to choose with who they want to work. Something that the person that doesn't have leverage cannot experience. They cannot choose with who they want to work. They are just looking for work. They're just looking for a job. They don't have the opportunity to experience true freedom of their time. Like how they're gonna decide today to spend their time, and so on and so on and so on. So, if we think about the very simple terms of like what is leverage? Leverage is the ability for a person to accumulate assets, so they don't need to work for money. Their assets are working for them. In other words, I'll never forget, like, I was on an event with Kiyosaki, and he dropped something that was like, boom. This is like the real difference between wealthy people and everyone else. He says wealth is not how much money you make. Pay close attention. So it's not the amount that you're making. There are people earning in the AI space, for example, a huge amount of money. But this is not what wealth is. Wealth is not how much you make. True wealth is how much your assets are making you when you're not working. Let me repeat this again. Wealth is not how much you are making, but how much your assets are making for you when you're not working. So with this in mind, then we need to think, okay, how many assets I have that are working for me, so I'm not working, how many assets I have that are working for me, and what kind of residual income they're producing for me every single day. So every single day I have bills, I have expenses. The minute I walk out from my house or from my location, wherever I'm in the world, whenever I move, it's like you start to spend, you start to consume. And it's true for every one of us. So as we start to spend and consume, then it's okay, how do you offset this spending? Do you have already a system in place that is offsetting all this spending, or you just spend just like on a holiday, and then you need to come back and try to catch up with all the bills and everything that's been accumulating while you were not working? So the wealthy people, they know that they need to invest their time for assets. They don't work for money. They work for assets, to accumulate or to build assets. And the assets are the ultimate leverage. So the more asset a person can accumulate, the more assets they can have in their portfolio, not just the wealthier, but they have the more peace of mind. They have the ability to have infinite amount of choices every single day versus a person that doesn't have these choices because of the limitations that they're exposed to. So think about the fact that, okay, how many assets do you have, and is your asset offsetting all your bills? And then on top of all your bills that are like every month are like pretty much the same amount, like the bills that are like regular, then you have the consumption. The minute you start moving, you start to consume. So this is on top. So this is, you can have impulsive consumption that can vary. I mean, in a day you can spend a lot or you can spend a little, but it's like the minute you start to move, you start to spend. And by the way, you don't need to move. Like you can spend from home, from your mobile phone. You can spend on online, like at any given moment, at any given time. So you don't need to be outside to experience, a consumer habits. And those are habits, those are routines. But oftentimes when you go out, those are not typically like habits. You experience things and you spend on things that you didn't spend yesterday or last week or last month. So you get the point. But the beauty of having a business, a side hustle, that can allow you to build residual income. And let me make sure this is very, very clear. Not on active income. Anyone can get a second job. Anyone can get an opportunity to earn more money. But again, wealth is not how much money we make. Wealth is how much money our assets are making for us when we're not working. So to create freedom for yourself, not for someone else, is your ability to purchase assets. But if you cannot purchase assets, by the way, this could be properties, this could be, businesses, this could be, any type of assets that can actually pay you every single month. And if you cannot buy the assets with those businesses, you have the opportunity to build the asset. By building the asset, you're building the cash flow, you're building the freedom for you and your family. And what I really love about business is that they're businesses that are predictable. You can predict the growth of your passive recurring income. Just like with properties. Like the more properties you accumulate, the more, specifically how many rents you're going to collect. One property, one rent. Two properties, two rents. The problem with properties is they're not multiplying by itself magically from one property to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16 and so on. But when you start investing your time in people and you start teaching people skills and how to be able to build a business on their own, how to be able to start to lead themselves before they can start to lead an organization, then you start to duplicate yourself. And again, with assets, this is impossible, but with people, this is possible. So the beauty of building people, and before you can build anyone, you have to start building yourself. You have to start to invest in yourself. You have to start to deposit on yourself more than you're depositing in any other asset, in any other endeavor. And once you start to do this, you're going to start to become more valuable. The more you do it, those daily deposits, the more you're increasing your value. And as you increase your value, the more valuable you become to the marketplace, then you can share your knowledge, your experience, your expertise with the world. You can train others on what you know and how others basically can, again, get the same vehicle, the same system, the same automation, and how they can start to build their own asset, their own freedom. And as they do in network marketing, the beauty is that the company will cut your percentage from not just from your own personal volume, sales volume that you're creating every single month, but also from the volume of the team that you're building. So you get paid on two volumes, on your personal volume and on your team volume. And if you have a match on your team volume, obviously you're incentivized to get better, to train people better, so they can produce better results. And as they produce better results, they get rewarded better and you get rewarded better. So there is nothing like this in the world that like, wow, you can actually empower people to go from I don't have qualification, I don't have the kind of CV that will basically require for me to apply, let's say, for AI or any specific field that like you don't have qualification. But in network marketing, you don't need any qualification. All you need is a hunger and desire and willingness to learn, to do, and to teach. And if you can commit yourself to those three things, to do every single day, to learn, to do, and to teach, there is no limit how many assets you can build yourself, how many people you can build, how large organization you can build within basically your time as you start to invest not just in you, but also in your people and you start to empower, inspire, and lead people into greatness. So my sincere wish for you is like, look for place that you can grow, that can allow you to build your own asset, your own cash flow, your own freedom. Because those places exist and they can bless you and they can allow you to bless others beyond your wildest imagination. Have an amazing day and wish you only the very best.